Seattle, Washington. Stephanie and I have been working on getting this broadcast going. She is in Houston, Texas, correct?
Yes, I am.
You're in Houston, Texas. Tell us a little bit about Texas.
Yes, so born in Lake Charles,
Or Houston.
Louisiana.
Okay.
Yes, we're raised in Houston. Houston is so diverse. You never know what the weather is going to be. I carry flip-flops, boots, coats, sweaters, shorts in my car because we can have all four seasons in one day, literally. But that's the beauty of Houston, Texas. You get some crazy weather, some good weather. Like I said, a very diverse town. I love it. I love it here.
You love it. Okay, so we're going to be talking today with Stephanie about her winery. And so I will just get started and we'll talk about her. Okay, so I'm Jessica Lewis. I'm a digital strategist and marketer. I do a live broadcast that is usually every Friday at 9 a.m. I've started with YouTube video, and then we're also doing live video, and I'm also working on a podcast at the same time. So currently I am broadcasting on Instagram Live, YouTube Live, Facebook Live. It broadcasts on Twitter as well as LinkedIn Live. And you can find me on the following networks here at Jessica Lewis. And Stephanie, how do we find you?
Yes, I have a website, franklinvineshtx.com. Social media channels, Franklin_Vine Instagram, and Franklin Vines Wine Instagram.
Nice. Okay. And Stephanie is the founder, CEO, inventor of Franklin Vines Wine in Houston, Texas, in the United States. And so I'm anxious to hear all about her. So Stephanie, why don't you tell us a little bit about your, how'd you get started in the wine business?
Absolutely. So I was always a wine consumer. I was one of those people going around to wine tastings, always wanting to learn more. So I think it was prepping me for where I am today. And 2018, 2019, I knew I wanted to do something different in my career. I was in corporate for years. I thought I was going to retire from corporate America in sales and marketing. And I left corporate, went over to nonprofit. And I did that for about 4 or 5 years. And I just wanted more. And so a friend of mine, she was like, Stephanie, tap into your passion. Well, my passion was food and wine. So I researched food first. And then I started looking into wine. And it was so broad. And I was excited about it. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but that's when I learned that we had a wine school here in Houston. So I started enrolling, I started taking courses. So I was on fire. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And I kind of like do it from there after the wine classes. And I started having a vision of jumping into the wine industry. And I knew I wanted to be a winemaker and plant a vineyard of all things.
Well, it's funny when you just go with the flow, what happens. But tell us about the wine school. What was going on with the wine school? What kind of classes were you taking?
So I started taking WSET 1. I started with 1. I know they were saying, "Oh, you don't need 1 because you know a little bit about wine," but I didn't think I did. So I started with WSET 1. That was very cool, and WSET 2, a little bit more intense, and learning all about the climates. And I mean, it was a lot. Like it was a lot of study, and went on to WSET 3, which I have yet to pass, and that's very important for me to say because a lot of things was going on during that time when I took the class. So I have to test for that in July. But WSET 3 was mind blowing. A lot of information. But WSET 3 is what brought me to where I am today. I literally had a vision in class and about having my own vineyard, and I knew I was going to call it Franklin Vines, and I knew I wanted to make wine. And that vision came 2 weeks from the exam, sitting in class, sipping on a wine, listening to a lecture in class. So it's intense. And I often wondered, why am I putting myself through this wine school and all of this, the rigorous information and the study time? I literally had no life. And I'm like, oh, I love it. It's the passion. And so, yeah, yeah.
I have a wee set too. And I remember when
Mhm.
I took the test, I took the test and I turned it in. And I remember really, really having no clue if I passed that test.
I
Like, well, how do you
understand.
think you did? I have no idea.
Right.
You just have to let go of it and see. So, okay. So we have the vision. I'm an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. How did you get going? How did you get started? And I know you did one step at a time and you get
Yes.
going to move forward. So yes.
After the vision, I quickly went over to the Texas Secretary of State and I formed a business, Franklin Vines, because I knew that's what I was going to call the vineyard, the winery. So I actually started a company, didn't know where the money was coming from, where the sources was coming from, but my vision was so strong. I felt it and I knew it would happen. I knew I would run into the right people. I will connect with the right organizations to make it come true. So after that, I literally started immersing myself into the wine culture industry, connecting with wineries and winemakers. I started interning. I actually interned. My first internship was in Napa in 2020, and I went up there when they were going through fires. And here in Texas, we were being threatened with a hurricane. And people were like, "Are you nuts? You're going up there? Do you know what they're going through?" I'm like, "Yes, but unless I receive a sign from God, I'm going." And it wasn't the traditional internship, but it was very eye-opening. Everything in wine is not pretty. I don't think a lot of people know what goes on behind the scenes. And so literally every winemaker was at the lab, like having their grapes tested for smoke taint. And, I got to listen in on insurance conversations. So I learned a lot. It was just an eye opener. So I'll never forget that 2021, I did a Texas internship. Let me tell you about the Texas internship.
Yes.
Lots of manual labor. I still have scars uh, to prove that I went through a rigorous internship, winemaking, touchdowns. I saw every part of winemaking. It was enough to make me say, "Stephanie, are you sure you want to do this? Because this is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. Are you cut out? You're older, you're starting a whole new career." And it scared me, but I was still excited about it. Something about all of that kept pushing me forward. And it was quite the experience.
How do you go about getting an internship?
Well, in 2020, my Napa internship, my first internship, actually a winery reached out to me, and I'm gonna give her a shout out. Jamie Aroha with Trois Noir Winery reached out to me via Instagram, and so funny because I like to speak things into existence. So I was like, I'm gonna be a winemaker. So she thought I was already a winemaker and asked me to come down if I was interested in coming down and do be a consultant winemaker on one of her projects. And I said, I'm not a winemaker yet. I'm looking for experience. And so she asked me if I wanted to come out and intern. I'm like, yes, I wanted to. Yes. So that's how all of that got started. In 2021, my Texas winemaking internship, I actually reached out to one of the top leading winemakers via Facebook and with a simple question about winemaking. That um, Facebook connection turned into a phone call, which led into me going out to the winery, having a conversation, meeting the entire team, and I was later offered an internship. So I like to say it's luck, but I think it's just my time. I feel like whenever I said I wanted to learn wine, be a winemaker, be a vineyard, and start really doing the work, I feel like the universe started to connect the dots for me. And that's literally been the road I've been on.
So, real quickly, do you want to add this into your family history? You've got a family history with the land. So, do you want to talk about that real quickly?
I do. So when I had the vision of just having a beautiful vineyard, a small vineyard, and making wine, it was all about Stephanie and her passion, dreams. When I said I was going to plant the vineyard on my grandfather's land in a historical town called Shankeville, Texas, it was not about me anymore. It became about the community because the community was is excited about things that I'm trying to do. So now it's about building the economy, boosting the economy, creating new jobs, creating new skill sets, being an intern hub for kids, for youth who are getting into agriculture who may not know exactly what they want to do. So again, it's not about me anymore. It's about the community, and I just hope my grandfather is looking down on me and he's proud of the things that I'm trying to do. No one else in the family has done anything with the land. So Stephanie, with her bright ideas, oh, I'm going to plant a vineyard, and I'm new in this industry, and so it's an experience. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning as I go. I don't come from wine. I don't have a wine background at all. And so, but it's been exciting, it's overwhelming, and it's extremely scary.
Yes. And the biggest thing I would say about entrepreneurship, and I love talking to entrepreneurs, is stepping into that fear, because I do it too. And so we'll talk about that. And one of the things that's interesting, I'm from Montgomery, Alabama, and I was just talking to a woman from England, and they grow up in the culture of wine. And I said, in Montgomery, Alabama, there was no wine.
Mhm.
We don't necessarily grow up in the culture. She's been doing wines, a lot of them, they've been doing wine since they were 17, or they worked in a
Wow.
wine store when they were 17. And I think some of the culture in the South is prohibition.
Okay.
And those kinds of things, and not drinking, or religious beliefs do not always have that in the culture that we're all drinking wine.
Hmm.
It was kind of my experience. Is that your experience
Yes,
also?
yes, yes.
Okay.
So,
The culture. Okay.
yes, for sure. I mean, we were not drinking wine at our tables in my family at all.
We were not either. It
We
was iced tea.
iced tea, lemonade.
Yeah, iced
Um,
tea, lemonade. Okay. Gotcha.
absolutely, yeah.
Same culture. Okay, as one of the Black-owned wineries in the United States, what challenges have you faced, and how have you overcome them?
I am a newbie in the game. I am just now starting to build. So I would love for you to ask me that question 2 or 3 years from now.
I will
For
do
the
it
most,
again.
yes, but
It's a
for the most
promise.
part,
Okay.
yes. For the most part now, my challenges are learning curves. Learning as I go, trying to understand the industry. Um, a lot of people are rallying around me, trying to help. And so when I go into interviews like these, it's very important for me to say I didn't get to where I am now alone. Friends, family, strangers, people that I meet at wine events who learn about what I'm trying to do, offer support, and I appreciate that so much. Um, I'm I've struggled along the way to get here. I know many more challenges are coming. So I just hope everyone's still there and rallying me on, and giving me that support that I need. So yeah.
So you're talking about all the support from friends and family. How did the financing show up?
Well, financing for right now is me. For
Okay.
right now, I've been applying for grants.
Okay.
I haven't had grants come through with just yet, but as you have to keep pushing, have to keep applying, and I feel strongly that it will come through. So I know eventually, loans are going to come into play. I'm getting advice from the small big business with U of H, with their department. They have been a wealth of knowledge, with the business plans, and friends have been helping me build performas and everything. So it takes a village for sure. It
Oh,
takes a village.
okay. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your winemaking philosophy, and how do you feel that it sets Franklin wines apart?
Well, with the latter question, how will Franklin vines set apart from other brands? Well, I feel like when people taste my wine, learn the history, they're going to feel the love, they're going to taste the love, they're going to taste the hard work, um, and they're going to be exciting and intrigued to know more. If you take away the history of my family's land, if you take away the story, my philosophy is making quality wine, making great wine. Um, it's not about wine just to make money from. I want people to enjoy every sip. I want them to appreciate um, the quality of the wine. As you know, Texas wine have not always received a great reputation. Now, Texas is number 5 on the wine producing charts, and so we are focused on what grows well here in Texas, and I think that that's what put us back on the horizon.
What does grow well in Texas?
Well, funny you ask. Several varieties, and so it's so funny that people, they are clueless, like when it comes to wine in Texas, because it's not a region that you think of. Tempranillo, Tanat, which is what I'm launching, Albarino, all of those warm climate regions that you think of, Cabernet Sauvignon, Blanc du Bois. There are so many different varietals that you would be amazed. Alicante Boucher, all of those varieties grow extremely well and can stand up to the Texas heat.
Okay, I wondered because the Texas has such a hot climate and such a what's the right word? Humidity. So I was
Yes.
kind of wondering about that. Okay, could you? I'm gonna, I'm a natural conversationalist. So do you want to talk a little bit about how do you showcase the wine? How do you market it right now?
So I was told by one of my mentors, they told me that I've been pretty genius. I've been talking about wine and my vineyard before I even got to the point to where I am. Every event that I would host, I would introduce myself as a future winemaker, a future great grower. And somebody responded to one of my posts on Facebook, and they said, I remember when I met you 2 or 3 years ago, and you were hosting a wine tasting, and you said, I'm going to plant a vineyard and I'm going to make wine. And she told me to see you actually living your dream, seeing it actually play out has been amazing. And it's been inspiring for her to go after her dreams. And of course, because I'm such a crybaby, I was like in tears reading it. And I've had big dreams before. I've had um, several things that I've wanted to do that was less involved, less intense than what I'm doing now. And I shied away from it. It was something about this that just stuck to me. It was in my heart to do it, and I'm doing it. And so to market it, I have been talking about it, and now it's here. I have a waiting list on wine that I haven't even bottled yet. A lot of that came from some exposure that I received on a Good Morning America interview back in August. And since then people have like literally from all over have been like reaching out, wanting to support and wanting to help and wanting to know, but when is the vineyard coming? When is your wine coming? And so yeah, I don't know if I'll have enough wine to share with everybody, the first vintage. So I don't know.
Well, that's a good problem to have, though, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
okay, and I'm going to ask you this. We may have just covered that, but could you share a memorable vintage from Frankline Wines and what makes it special? Did we just sort
So
of go? Okay.
yeah, but I'll answer that. So my first vintage will be the one that I'm launching this year,
Okay.
which will be a Tanat. So I went with Tanat wine, the grape, because it's a lesser known grape in the States. Not a lot of people know. And I think I had a little bit influence on one of my mentors. He was one of the first people to champion the grape in Texas. Tanat originated in Mataron, France. And so and so here we are today.
Yes, those of us that follow our guidance, it's not always fun, is it?
Not at all. Not at all. So
Let's just
so
step
it's
right out there. Okay. What are some of the sustainable? Okay, let me skip to the next one. Well, I'll do this one. How do you integrate educational programs into your winery's operations, and what impact has it had on the community? You touched on that a little bit. So, what are your
okay.
plans with that?
So my plans with that is I do want to have a community hub, and I want that to be a learning facility to teach about out of the box careers in wine and agriculture. And I also want to form a scholarship for any woman of color entering viticulture, enology, wine, agriculture, any aspect of wine. Um, I want them to have support. I want them to have an easier start than what I did. And I also want to have a scholarship for women 45 and older who are starting a new career in wine, because it's tough. It's scary when you jump out on a limb at a middle age, and when I could have, like, I've wanted so many times to go back to corporate because that was so easy for me. That's what I know. That's what I was good at. And over here, I don't know what the unknown is. I don't know. All I know is I believe in myself. I believe in my dreams. But yeah, I want to implement all of those educational components.
Where I am right now, and is a little bit of, I have, my guidance is the corporate world is helping someone else to pursue their dream, and I wanted to pursue my own dream. Does
I
that?
love that. Yes.
Yes. Someone else is having a great time while I'm working away in the corporate world. I'd rather work
Right.
away on my own thing, but
Same
we're
here.
yes, got it. Okay. So what are some of the sustainable practices you're using in the vineyard and the winery?
So because I'm new, I get to hone in on all of these things that are eventually going to take us into the future. So I really want to use, organic. Um, I want to use like non-chemical pesticides. I want to reduce water consumption. Maybe I'll move away from using glass and use kegs and aluminum, things that are environmental friendly. I know a lot of wineries are wanting to move into that area of using less glass, but don't know how it's going to be received. For me, because I'm brand new and starting out, I do want to implement a lot of those sustainable practices.
And that's really nice too. And so,
Mhm.
in what ways do you hope to inspire other women to dream big in the wine industry, or just in general to dream big?
I hope they hear my story or read about my story. It will encourage them to be bold, to dream big, and to go after their dreams. I hope that they're inspired. Um, I feel like there's a lot of people that want to see you win, but if you don't believe in yourself, if you don't believe that it's going to happen, it's not going to happen. So if I didn't feel so strongly, I don't think I would be doing this. It's a lot of work. I shed a lot of tears. I'm sure more are going to come. And then you have to dust yourself off and get back up and figure it out because challenges is, it's a part of life. So, yeah.
I agree. So let me ask. So wine in the past has been a male dominated industry. How do you think that women are charging forward in this industry?
I think we are roles in the wine industry, as you said, that have been led by men. And more of us are doing it. We are stepping out there and we aren't afraid. We are getting the training. We are speaking out more. And we are rallying together because, as you know, we are definitely stronger together. And so that support, um, helping those that come behind them. And yeah, so I think that we are going to be the face of wine with women. We're going to be leading a lot of the wineries. So yeah.
I've had a lot of women contact me. So I started a women in wine series on YouTube because I've had a lot of women, particularly in Europe or even younger women that didn't feel like they had a voice. So they
Mhm.
wanted me. So what I feel like I'm doing right now is creating a voice for all kinds of people to have a platform to speak. So during the pandemic, I started this on social media and it became we were all stuck at home with the pandemic and it became a centralized place for people to talk to one another. And
Mhm.
so it's been kind of an interesting ride there too. So looking at the future, what are your aspirations for Franklin wine over the next decade? Where are you hoping to go? What would you like to happen? And you've discussed that a little bit, but you can elaborate on that and I can come up with something else to ask you if you've already
Absolutely.
if you've already gone into
No,
that too much.
I have an answer for you.
Yes. Okay.
um, hopes for Franklin Fines Wine. I want to acquire 20 to 50 acres of land in Shankeville, Shankeville, Texas, which is East Texas. And I want to I want that to be one of the top wineries, uh, great growing regions. I hope to form a new AVA. I'm researching that as if I don't have enough to do. I would love to have Shankeville, like an area, like a new AVA area in Texas. I hope to inspire more people to get into agriculture, to plant more vines, and be winemakers. Have more women enter the winemaking industry, and yeah, I want to plant 3 different varietals, and I'll keep it at that. I'll keep it at
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds great. Okay. So, would you like to tell everyone how they find you? If they want to come to Texas and visit, how do they find you? How do they locate you?
Yes, ma'am. I live in Houston, Texas, and where I'm planting my vineyard is in Shankeville. We are in the beginning stages, and so reach out to me via my email. A lot of people have my phone number. My email is franklinvines at gmail.com. My social media channels, it's always Franklin Vines. I will be probably having a community event when we start to plant. And so anybody who wants to join that, there will be information coming up on that. And we welcome everyone that wants to lend a hand.
Okay, and let me know when that happens, and I'll help you out with that too. Well, thank you.
Yay.
I'm so glad we got this worked out. Thank you, Stephanie. I really
Me
enjoyed
too.
talking to you. And we'll just play the little end here and we'll tell everybody bye. And then also, if you want to later, we can do this live. And when we do it live, we now know how to get through the technical difficulties. When we do it live, people can ask live questions at the same time. So thank you so much.
Thank you.